I'd like to welcome everybody to our October 7th Town Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As you can tell, Mayor Phillips is not here. He's out of town. So as Mayor Pro Tem, I will have the honor of running this meeting. First item of business, does any member of the council have a conflict of interest or the appearance of a conflict of interest with regard to any items on the agenda? And if so, please state at this time. Mr. Larkin?
I do not.
Mr.
I do not.
I do
not.
not.
I do not.
I do not. Thank you. All right. There are a couple of amendments to the draft agenda. First, we have two administrative items to add to old business H4. These are forms that are required for the Department of Coastal Management waterfront grant that we've been given for the Majestic Oaks Park. It's an administrative thing. We'll add it in so the council can approve it, and they can be added. Then on new business item number 1, purchase of the capital asset, the Public Works Department angle broom. We found out we could repair it a lot cheaper than we could replace it. And so we are going to do that. So that's, does anybody else have any amendments?
I do not.
No, nothing.
Okay, thank you. Council discussion. I would like to take advantage and make the first discussion point. I think we have several of them tonight. But I'd like to say thank you very much to Gary and Teresa Massey from Sunset Beach Pier for organizing the relief program for Hurricane Helene victims. He's arranged for a semi-trailer truck that police department, fire department, public works department, and lots of our citizens are making donations to and helping to put together supplies. He has driven the truck, as I understand it, several times up to Western Carolina to make deliveries, and the truck is now back across from the pier, waiting in the process of being filled up again for another load. So thank you very much for them for it. It's not a town activity, but it is very good representation of our town. So thank you to the Masseys. Anybody else have any? Mike?
I would like to say thanks to the staff, which helped in making our 17th annual Sunset at Sunset Festival last Saturday one of the largest and a very successful festival. Special thanks I'd like to give to Amy Goodrich, our events coordinator, as well as staff from the Public Works Administration, Fire Department, Police Department, and the staff from other departments that helped out. Thanks also to the many volunteers that aided the vendors and the staff throughout the day. Really impressive was the layout of the festival. The music by the Sea and Sand Band and the Luna Sea entertained the many people who attended. Thank you to our sponsors, namely Sea Trail Golf Resorts, Focus Broadband, Sunset Properties, and Plum Right Plumbing. Thank you.
Amy, nice job.
Thank you very much.
For your first time through that, it was difficult, I know, and a lot of time, a lot of energy, but thank you so much.
It was a good job all around. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
John.
Charlie.
Charlie?
I also have some people to thank. Everybody from the staff who worked so hard to make Sunset at Sunset the resounding success that it was. Also our volunteers. And a couple people I want to, not anything to do with Sunset at Sunset, but for a period of time, Cindy Nelson, the administrative assistant in our inspections department, filled in as for taking the minutes for not only the council meetings, but the planning board and the ERC. Never made a any complaint, no, she just jumped in, did the job. And we have a lot of employees like that. We're very lucky to have the employees we do. And there were 3 sergeants from the police department, Paul Besser, Kevin Long, and Matt Harden, who attended 3 one-week courses from the FBI LEEDDA in supervisory, communication, and executive leadership. I want to congratulate them on coming through that with flying colors. Proud of our police department. That's it.
Thank you. Pete, you've got something?
Yeah, I think as most of you know, I have been the benefit of being able to meet with our citizens the Friday following our regular monthly meetings here in council chambers, or next door in the conference room. And I'm going to do it again this Friday. So anybody that wants to come in, has a question or a comment, please come in. We start at 10 o'clock. I try to get here a little early and sign in, and want to hear what you have to say. I always learn from it, so I'm kind of selfish when I do this. Thank you, John.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to take a second again, honor another one of our police department members. Police department had a promotional ceremony on Friday, and at which time Brandon Gray was promoted to sergeant. And Ken, if you would say to him, at least from all of us up here, congratulations on that achievement. Sergeant Gray, and I'll just give you a couple little background on him, began his career in law enforcement in 2005. 2019, he earned his North Carolina Immediate Law Enforcement Certificate. 2022, he came to Sunset Beach, and that's been a very positive thing as far as we're concerned, as far as our police department is concerned. He also is one of the, as Charlie mentioned, one of the sergeants doing the FBI LEADA Supervisory Leadership Institute. And he's got one more part to go as far as that's concerned. So we'd like to congratulate Sergeant Gray on his accomplishments, and hopefully he'll spend a lot more of his career with us at Sunset Beach. So if you'd thank him for us, it'd be appreciated. One more thing quickly. As you might know, Lisa sent out an email blast yesterday announcing at the planetarium, announcing a Elton John laser show, Rocket Man, that was going to be 3 times. There's only one more presentation left, and that's on Thursday, October 10th at 5 p.m. All the money that's collected there will be donated to the World Central Kitchen. You might have heard of that, a nonprofit, non-governmental organization that provides fresh meals in response to humanitarian, climate, and community crisis. They hit the ground running in Asheville, and they are currently there providing food all of last week and into this week. That's really good. Again, it'll be the final showing of the Elton John laser show will be Thursday, October 10th at 5 p.m. The suggested donation for tickets is $10. So hopefully we can fill the planetarium one more time, and that money will all go to the World Central Kitchen for the benefit of Western North Carolina. Thank you.
Anything else?
Done.
We sure? We can all go around again once. Okay. Okay, thank you.
I don't think they want to hear us.
Next item on the business is the public hearing for the UDO text amendments. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The public hearing is now open on the UDO text amendments. Lisa, could you say a few words about what this is?
These have come about from the review of our UDO that was adopted in late 23 by our new planner, Ron Satterfield. And these are just administrative cleanups where there were typos, may have been pointing to a subsection F, and it was really G. So that's all it is.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anybody here who would like to speak on this public hearing? Regards to the UDO amendments. Okay. Hearing nothing, may I have a motion to close the meeting, close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. Now we'll move to public comments on agenda items only. You have 3 minutes. Please give your name and address and identify which item on the agenda that you were speaking about. Does anybody have something? John?
My name is John Farrell. I live at 624 Oyster Bay Drive. I have 2 items. First of all, later on in your agenda, Lisa is going to present a proposal to you for Tree City USA designation, which basically is to set up a tree board and an annual budget for tree care and maintenance in the town. The ERC's been working to try to get Tree City USA designation for the town for 4 years. Councilman Larkin was the first one to get this started. In fact, he planted a tree out beside the building here for
And it's thriving.
the inaugural Tree City USA planning. So I would appreciate your approval of what Lisa has put together for this. And I'd like to thank Lisa for picking up on this and really pushing this over the goal line for us to get us this far. The second item is I've been on the ERC now for 5 years. My current term expires this month, and I'm up for reappointment. And I see that's on your agenda tonight too, and I would appreciate your reappointment. I look forward to.
You're going to say something else.
I did the same thing.
So I'll thank you in advance for reappointing me for another 2 years.
Thank you.
We haven't yet. God.
Okay. Are there any other public comments on the agenda items? Okay. Moving on, next item is the consent agenda. This covers the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes, Police Department August 2024 reports, Fire Department August 2024 report, Public Works Stormwater Department August 2024, Building Inspection Department August 2024, and Code Enforcement Project Management 2024. Do we have any questions?
I've reviewed them and I do not.
Any questions for the departments, for the staff?
No, I have nothing.
Do you have anything on that,
I
Lisa?
don't want them to leave yet.
You don't want them to leave. Okay. All right. So may I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion. Accept.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Well, you don't want the department
Moving
heads
on,
to leave.
Town Administrator report.
Department.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Corbett. You all shortened my report a lot, but this part I still want to do. In echoing what everybody has already heard, I would like Amy Goodrich to stand and be recognized for the awesome and tremendous job that she did planning and getting sponsors and executing the Sunset at Sunset event was just priceless. I mean, she works with such ease and accomplishes everything that is thrown at her. And I just really, really appreciate you a lot. And then if everybody else will stand up that was there for Sunset at Sunset from the staff.
Gary.
Carrie White, Building Inspector, Dustin Graham, Public Works, Matt Sorrells, Public Works Director, Richard Childress, Fire Chief, Ken Claymore, Police Chief, and Kimberly Rigsby, Deputy Town Clerk. We all came together like a well-oiled machine the day of. There's a lot of moving parts that go into the festival, and these people made it all possible with the addition of all the community members and volunteers that Amy was able to convince that they needed to come spend a good 12-hour day with us. So thank you for everything that you do.
May I interrupt? Just
Sure.
There's one person there, Director of DPW, Matt Sorrell.
Mhm.
You know, they work extensively for a long time, before, during, and after.
Absolutely.
And their work is really part of the foundation, part of getting the park ready for doing this. So also thank you to
Absolutely
Matt.
is. Now, Matt's department does a lot for all of our events leading up to and even after the events. They were there first thing this morning, breaking everything down and getting it all put back in its place so we can do it all again next year.
Excuse me, I sort of misspoke. I didn't recognize you sitting there.
Matt,
Oh, you didn't think he was here.
I thought you were absent. My apologies.
he cleans up real good, huh?
That's what I told him earlier.
He remembered your name, Matt.
And then one of the last things I'd like to do, I realized today that there are a lot of new faces and a lot of new people to our community that don't really know where Sunset at Sunset originated from or the history behind it. We are very blessed in that Miss Karen Joseph has served as the committee chairperson for that committee for at least, what, Karen, 15 of the 17 years of its existence. And I would like for her, if it's okay with you all, just to step to the podium and just give us a brief history of how the festival got started and where it is has come to today.
I had to go back into my memory. The festival began in 2007 when then Mayor Ron Klein asked the council to approve a community block party to thank the residents, and that this would be held after the visitors left. And that's how the first Saturday in October became the date for Sunset at Sunset. It was a very small event. Pete and I were just talking about it. It was on the island. There was a tent. Inside the tent, nonprofit organizations could show either their wares or what they were all about. There were no vendors because you were not permitted to vend on the island. There was a band, and they paid mightily for that band. I never paid that much money for a band. But anyway, that's where it started. The next year, a few of us said, let's join the committee. And Carol Santavica was the chairperson, and the town had a new administrator. And Gary Parker was his name, and he came to the first meeting. And he said, I never went to a festival that didn't have vendors. And we said, well, that's because you didn't go to a festival in Sunset Beach. And at the time, the people who were on the 2007 committee were mulling whether they should move the event to the mainland because the swing bridge was having so many problems. And the last thing they needed was a festival, an event on the island, and the bridge to go down. So in that very first meeting, it was decided to move the festival to the mainland and at the same time invite vendors. So this was a whole new bag of wax. At the same time also, we needed a logo. And so with the permission of the town administrator, since the group had no funds, they contracted with a designer. And I don't remember where the office was. I think it was in Myrtle Beach. And we all got in the cars and went to Myrtle Beach. and they proposed a number of different logos, and we chose the official Sunset at Sunset logo. And let's see. The first year, there were actually about 60 vendors at Sunset, which we thought was just a miracle. I won't bore you with the year-by-year analysis, but suffice to say that over the years, the festival grew and grew and grew, so that the last year that I was involved, there were 148 vendors. That included nonprofits, and it was our first time in the park. So we were very proud of what we pulled off. It was different for everybody, but we had our bands. We had the help of the police department every year. They always had a booth. The administration had a booth. Our fire department was amazing when they held their what was it called? An obstacle course for children. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it in the park, but it was always a very big hit. Over the years, the children's booth that we had grew not only in size, but in number of participants. The last 2 years, I recall starting the day with huge piles of t-shirts and sweatshirts, and by the end of the day, they were practically all gone, which was wonderful. The food vendors literally ran out of food, which was also a good thing. You could just ask Sunset Vision, how many hot dog runs they had to make year after year, because they were the only people allowed to sell hot dogs.
Thank you.
Each year, more and more local businesses became sponsors, and we were very thankful for that. Many Sunset Beach residents have served on committees over the years, and I was privileged to work with them during my 15 years, whether I was on the committee, chairing the committee, or as their council liaison. So I hope I've given you a picture of the history. If anybody ever does a history book again, but I'll answer any questions that you might have. Yes, John.
Could you kind of give an idea of how the funding for this works? You know, because your line item in the budget is a little bit different than the rest of the budget.
Yes. Over the years, to begin with, the town funded the first year, and what they basically paid for was a band. After that, there was no funding from the town of Sunset Beach. All the money that got raised was raised to pay for the festival. Of course, the goal was always, let's have some money left as our feeder for the next festival. And that was also a way that we gauged our success. We started with a kitty of $10,000, then it would go up to 15, and so on. That's how the festival was funded. In my years, there was no town funding.
So it's its own separate account.
Yes, it is a separate account in your budget.
Good.
Does that answer?
That works good. Yes, thank you.
An answer I knew you'd like.
Should all our departments work that way?
I'm sorry? All line items? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. What do I just tell the police officer over there?
The fire boots aren't big
I
enough to
hear
stand
you,
on the
Ken.
corner.
Charlie, did you have a question?
I would just want to say thank you so much, Karen,
Oh.
for all you've done over the years. You and your volunteers, just an outstanding job. And I know it was something near and dear to all of you. And it's gotten to the point now where we need more. And, but thank you.
Well, thank you, Karen, for what you've done to the town. For the town.
Thank you, Karen. I knew you could do an awesome job with that. Continuing on as in Karen's legacy, you know, we still do t-shirts. We have long sleeve t-shirts, and we started something new last year with producing calendars. So we do have all still available at Town Hall for sale. And all of those will make great Christmas gifts. So swing by and see Kimberly, and she'll be glad to sell you all you'll take. Continuing on with, as everyone had said already, we did receive a request from the state. I can't remember if it was the state police or who it actually was, Ken. And we deployed 2 officers to Western North Carolina. Sergeant Gray and Officer Bost left yesterday. And we actually received a picture today of someone traveling on either 74 or 40 that was actually behind our Sunset Beach Police Department vehicle. So if you do get calls from your friends that are upstate and they're telling you that they're seeing Sunset Beach police cars up there, we're there. And we are providing security for distribution centers and directing traffic and helping wherever we can. The fire department personnel, they are on standby to go with an engine and personnel as well. And when that call comes in, they are ready to go. I want to express a sincere thank you to all of those across the state, including us that are there and are ready to go. Our community, as John said, has showed a tremendous outpouring for the needs of that community. And as John said, Gary and Teresa Massey have been very instrumental in getting a lot of goods and supplies up there quickly, in addition to Fletcher and Kelly Frank, just to name a few. These recovery efforts, as we all know, living in Hurricane Alley, are going to go on for months and even years. And it's great that we're there to help them in any way that we can. A couple of events that are coming up is Jazz in the Park is scheduled for Sunday, October the 20th from 1 to 4. The After Hours Band will start the event, followed by the Stardusters, and ending with the members of the After Hours Band joining the Stardusters to close out the event. Amy promises that there'll be food and beverages available, so bring your chair and come out and just have a nice afternoon listening to some good jazz music. The town and the police department is hosting their annual trunk or treat on Wednesday, October the 23rd, starting at 5 p.m. in the town park. Candy donations are being accepted at various locations within town limits and at town hall. So please, every time you go to the grocery store or Walmart, buy a bag of candy and drop it in one of those bins or drop it off at the police department. That is a great outreach event that we can do for the children and the parents in this area to just help promote a good atmosphere and a safe atmosphere for children on that day. The weekly markets, as Amy will attest, is coming to an end. We only have 4 left for this year, October 10th, 17th, 24th, and the 31st. Then we have a holiday market that will be in Saturday, November the 30th in the town park as well, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Paul's Ability is going to partner with the town for this event, and they will have the pet photos with Santa and or the Grinch, depending on which way you want your picture to be held in prosperity. And Amy is working, as always, with secure and beverage, food, and music for that event. Let's see where I'm at. Very, very, very pleased to announce that we have been awarded the Public Beach and Coastal Waterfront Access Program grant. This is for the Majestic Oak Park. This is the second grant that we applied for. It's totaling $392,175. and we received that grant from the North Carolina Division of Coastal Management. The two things that Mayor Pro Tem Corbett added to the agenda tonight for approval will accompany that grant contract. We are now in the process of engineering the construction plans for the park and hope to solicit bids in early next year. For the 24-25 recycling program that we have just wrapped up, we have 955 new or renewals for that program. We had 31 cancellations, and we haven't heard from approximately 200 people or property owners that Kimberly will be reaching out to this week, either by phone or email, to make sure that they realize that it's an annual program and you have to sign up for it every year. When we do make those calls we get a lot of response from those. So we're hoping to get over 1,000 customers on that program. Early voting starts Wednesday, October 17th through Saturday, November 2nd. It's held at the Sunset Beach Community Center, which is at 200 Station Trail in Sunset Beach, where you all go to vote normally. The hours of operation will be weekdays from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Saturday, October the 19th and the 26th from 10 to 4, and from 8 to 3 on Saturday, November the 2nd. On Sundays, October 20th and 27th from noon to 5. Hurricane Milton. We're starting to, or we're continuing to monitor Hurricane Milton as it's going to come across Florida later this week. At this point, we are expecting maybe some minor tropical storm conditions, rip currents, maybe some coastal erosion, gusty winds, rain. If it jogs more south, we won't have anything at all. If it jogs north, we'll have more than I'm alluding to right now. So just watch the weather, and we'll be monitoring, and then I'll send out e-alerts as they become needed. Hopefully they won't. For dredging, just a dredging update for everybody now that we've been finished with dredging for a while. The actual physical part of dredging. Now comes the fun part of the money. We've finalized the dredging project, and we're submitting reimbursement requests to the state. Those could take however long it takes for the state to verify all the invoices that we've sent to them and actually get the funds processed and get them back down to us. Once all the funds have been received, we'll be able to determine what, if any, cost that were not eligible for the reimbursement in order to finalize the remaining cost of the project. At that point, the council will call for a preliminary assessment roll to be prepared and a public hearing to be scheduled. Each affected property owner will receive a notice of that hearing by mail, and after the hearing, the council will confirm the roll and levy the assessment. I expect the assessment to be levied in late spring to early summer 2025. The last thing I have for you is at this point, it is appropriate to inform our citizens that the person who had been serving in the position of the finance director is no longer employed with the town of Sunset Beach. We will be immediately turning our focus on our efforts of finding a new finance director as soon as possible. And lastly, we have received a request from a citizen to look at the construction hours during the summer season. Right now, our hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Studied it.
Yep. And so we've got a request to shorten those hours. And I would ask council to allow staff to research this for you all and look at some other towns and get some and be able to bring you a recommendation in November, if that is okay with you all. Yes.
I'm fine.
All right.
And noise. And we'll be looking into the noise ordinance as well. For construction, right. Right now, the noise has to be abated except in the times of emergencies. So we'll be looking at the noise ordinance when it's related to construction as well, if that's okay.
Yeah. The council will want staff to come to us with recommendations and justifications for
Absolutely.
what's proposed.
So that'll be Carrie and Dustin and all of those will be involved.
And you'd still look at no work by contractors on Sunday?
Correct. And I think that's all I have.
Just
and I'll be
one
glad to answer any
clarification, the jazz festival, like our other concerts, that's no cost to attendees, free? It's free.
Free
Free
admission.
admission. Thank you. Anything else? Any other questions? for the Town
No,
administrator?
thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
Good report.
Yeah, writer's cramp. So moving into old business. First item of old business is the appointment. Oh, okay. Staff, you're welcome to go home.
Or welcome to
Baseball
stay.
game started about 5 minutes ago. Football game's another hour.
No, you can't leave. You can't leave either, Kimberly.
Okay, moving on. First item is the ABC board member appointment. The council, in pairs of 2, interviewed 3 applicants for one ABC board position, and we are in a position to appoint only one. Do I have any discussion or motions?
I have a motion. I move that we appoint Robin Alardi to the ABC board.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
We have other people that have applied for that post who've been interested in joining various boards within our town over the last year. Haven't reached for all of them. Has very good qualifications, and this is the first time this person's name has come up to a board meeting, and I'm not sure why this person's chosen versus over the other. In general terms, qualifications, whatever. I'm not asking for specifics.
We always take the most qualified person. That simple.
That's in the judgment of the members of the council.
It certainly, it is subjective, yes.
Yes. Yeah. There's not a checklist that council goes down. It's after the interviews. We discussed among ourselves, not all together, no more than 2 at a time, and get a sense of where we want to vote.
Well, my only question is, okay, if someone is really working hard to become or provide service to the town and has demonstrated that multiple times, and somebody who has not come forward for anything else is chosen over that person, that seems to me like what provoked us, because I've interviewed all of them myself, and what provoked us, or the majority or whatever, to choose one over the other? Or there's actually 3, but
Yeah. We have 3 candidates. They all got interviewed, and we have yet to vote on it, but the council members, in their best judgment, select who they think would be able to do the job and serve the town well. Now, there's multiple people that can do that. So somebody's not going to be selected. We have 3 applicants in 1 position.
well, I've got a sneaky suspicion that the decision has been made, and I'm just trying to justify that position, that person, in my mind.
That takes a lot of nerve to say that we
That's-
decided already.
Well, there
We're
was
going to
a
vote now, and that's how we
Okay.
decide.
All right, let's vote.
We ready for a vote? Any other discussion?
Just to make a comment, I had a conversation with Charlie, with Mike, Hargraves and with John Corbett following the interviews individually. And that's why I seconded Robin's appointment, if you will, the motion, because I thought she was the most qualified, even though all three had qualifications.
Okay.
So, I mean, and I think you deserve an answer to your question, but I can only speak for myself.
Okay. Well, I interviewed with Michael as my partner for the interview, and I thought we had generally become favorable to a candidate, which wasn't this lady. And that's all. So, and I'm not
I think we're
asking.
fortunate to have candidates that there's a split vote from the council on. It
Yeah.
means there's people, more than one, that's certainly risen to get our attention.
The key thing here, Michael, is it is very subjective, obviously. It's based on 5 people looking at, in this case, 3 candidates, trying to decide on their own who would be the best. As John said, we get together during the week. We can't get together as a group. We can only get together 2, but we just pick up the phone and talk and come up with give and take and come up with who we think might be the best candidate. And it's really individually what you think. Now, obviously, as Charlie said, we got to vote now
Okay.
and determine who gets this position. And hopefully that person will do a great job. We don't know that, but hopefully.
I was not called by 3 of the people on this thing before I was told that there was a decision, that there was a candidate that was recommended. It was a recommendation. maybe.
My conversations occurred immediately following the interviews. It
Okay.
wasn't something that
Well, no, I
happened
know, but it was
in
2
My
weeks ago.
conversation with you occurred after I talked with the other 3.
Yeah.
And I told you where I thought they were leaning.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Call for a vote. Okay. The motion is to select Robin Ilardi as the ABC board member. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed?
No.
No. 4-1. Robin Ilardi will be appointed. Next item of business is the appointment of the ERC member. As John Farrell pointed out in his remarks, he is currently the chairman, and there are no other candidates for this. And I'll just add that he has done a very good job serving the town as the head of the ERC while he's been there.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
This is an easy decision because we only have one candidate and one open position. However, I think kudos need to go to Mr. Farrell. The ERC has had various, I'll call it ups and downs, and I served at the pleasure of town council as chair of that for a while. John Farrell has given it organization, he's given it structure, he's given it subcommittees. He's put meat on the bone. He invigorates the other board members so that they get a lot of productive work. My hat's off to you, John.
Thank you, John. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we appoint John Farrell as the ERC.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Good job, John.
Okay, November, December council meeting schedules. Lisa, want to talk us through this, please?
This is just a request to move the November 4th council meeting to Tuesday, November the 12th at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. if a closed session is needed. We're also requesting that a special meeting be scheduled for Monday, December the 2nd at 3 p.m. for the purpose of hearing the presentations from the police and fire chiefs regarding the 24 Beach Patrol Compliance Officer and Beach Rescue Operation that we did as a pilot program this summer. In addition to hearing the recommendations from both of those gentlemen for the upcoming 2025 season, and if council has any changes or new ideas that they would like for them to explore. And then lastly, to hear from Amy the presentation for the town managed markets, concerts, and special events, and what she is proposing for the upcoming 2025 events. And lastly, for staff to come back to you all with the parking committee proposal that we have been busy detailing to try to make paid parking on Sunset Beach for the 2025 season a reality.
My only question would be, that's an awful lot for a one afternoon session. Do we want to move maybe the paid parking to the evening session? We're still going to have a 7 p.m. town council meeting, right?
We are.
Okay.
We are. My idea of moving all that around into a special meeting was so that it would be a more informal meeting between council and staff at more of a round table discussion instead of all of you all sitting up here and all of them down there. It just makes it a little more user friendly on the staff level as we're working through our recommendations, your wants, and come into an even playing field of how we move forward.
So would the council be making decisions and voting, or would we just be discussing?
We would be discussing, reaching consensuses, and putting those on the December 2nd agenda for that night.
Same day.
Yes. Or move them to the January, whatever that meeting date is.
Lisa,
Any other comments?
the fourth bullet there says the presentation regarding the 2025 paid parking proposal. What you just said was more than that. It would be also, I guess, an update on the progress being made by you and the staff on planning for implementation of the island parking plan.
We're hoping to have a proposal for you to go forward with that, including cost and revenue projections,
Okay.
so that we can hit the ground running in January. If you're going to want this program to be rolled out April 1st, we're going to need some months to get that done in.
And we've been climbing uphill in prior springs because we didn't do just what you're saying, I think.
Correct.
Could we take that fourth bullet then? Can you massage that a little bit? From what you just said was excellent, I thought. So just work with it and play with it a little bit so it adds more to what that actual fourth bullet is.
Okay.
Okay,
I
thank
can
you.
do that.
And will we get background, read ahead material so that we can prepare, or will we?
Hopefully.
The first Monday is January 6th.
Okay. Or we may move it to January 6th. We'll just have to see.
Okay.
We'll have to see how it comes together. There's a lot of moving parts to this proposal. And a lot of us are going in a lot of different directions to gather information. And then all of that will come back to you all in a, hopefully a pretty package with a bow.
So there's a lot there.
That would be by Christmas.
Yes.
I have a motion.
Please, go ahead.
I move that we reschedule the November meeting and schedule a special meeting on December 2nd at 3 p.m. to discuss everything Lisa said.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. You got it, Lisa. You got a lot to produce there. Next item is the new, the addition to this agenda. We received the DCM grant from Majestic Oaks, and we have 2 documents that we need, 2 administrative documents that accompany basically every grant application we do with the state, and we need to fill that. One is a conflict of interest policy, And the second one is a certification that we have no overdue tax debt. Is there anything else we need to know to?
No, these are just boilerplate attachments that are attached to the grant contract. I mean, as soon as I get these signed to get them back to the state, they'll be able to execute the contract and we'll be able to start going out for bids.
This is the same forms that we've done on prior grants.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
These are the same exact two forms that went with the Part F grant in which we were awarded the $500,000. So now we're up to $892,175 of state funds to begin the development of the Majestic Oak Park on the island.
Is there any other discussion, questions?
It's great news.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And again, the agenda that was sent out, first item of business was a purchase of an angle broom, and that's been dropped from the agenda because we are able to fix the broom that we have. So moving on, next item, multi-jurisdictional disaster debris management agreements. Lisa?
This is a, just what it says, it's a multi-jurisdictional disaster debris management agreements. This is partnering with the town, the county, and other municipalities in the county in the event that we would suffer a disaster such as the mountains just did, that this company comes in and comes to the entire county and all the municipalities without all of us having to have our own separate debris management systems. So this is the monitoring of the operation and the actual doing of the operation.
So this has, am I correct in assuming this has nothing to do with our regular leaf and limb, bundled leaf and limb pickup?
No,
And it also has nothing to do with when we declare inappropriate that we will pick up unbundled material from the front of people's houses.
right.
This
It does
is
not.
a whole level of higher than that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is there a cost involved with this prior to a disaster?
Not prior to.
Okay.
And when the disaster, it's the trucks are all weighted. They know where they're coming from. It's all monitored, and then we're charged accordingly for the debris that is removed from us, and then we are reimbursed hopefully by FEMA.
And
So I
this is
just
an
need-
ongoing program that we've been
Every
we've
3
been part of
years.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, every 3 years the county goes out for new bids.
Any other questions?
I'll
I
make
have a
a,
motion.
go ahead, Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
I move that we approve entering into this jurisdictional agreement.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next item of business is the ordinance to amend the UDO Article 2 and 3 that we had the public hearing on earlier in this meeting. Lisa?
Thank you. And I do apologize in advance. When you produce as much paper as Kimberly and I do in a day, and this is the first time I've realized that the right margin, as it goes into the meeting, the minutes, the packet software, it is actually cutting off some of the information that the public is able to see. So going forward, we will have all of this slid to the left so that the right will be whole. So I do apologize for that in advance. And like you said, this is just the cleanup of the administrative codes as Mr. Satterfield has gone through and reviewed our UDO.
Since I'm the culprit that started this, of course, when I was chair of the planning board this past years, we worked on redoing the Unified Development Ordinances, and we've totally rewritten them. And I think, I'll say a huge improvement over what we had before. We've been reacting to situations that we have found that we were inadequately represented in our UDO to deal with them. And the new UDO, I think, is performing well. However, as the new UDO was established, there was a checkbox that kind of fell down and everything fell out of sync. And I found it when I was looking specifically at this topic, because I was looking at parking lots to see where they were allowed, where they weren't allowed, what the requirements were, what a definition of a parking lot was. And that's when I saw that these things were out of whack. So I got up with our planning director, Ron, and
LeBruno.
our chairman of the planning board, Ron LeBruno, and then that went before the planning board. There's one thing that as this topic, that I am uncomfortable with. I'm going to vote to approve this as presented by town staff, but I am against private parking lots, particularly on our island, that are that only certain people are allowed to park in. Now, we have those situations right now, but they're grandfathered in. Sea Trail has their own lot. There's parking for Ocean Ridge at their HOA building on the island. There's parking for Kingfish Bay at their HOA on the island. And the rest of our citizens can't park there. It's private property. One of the things that we did on the planning board is we stopped that practice. And we've said very clearly that a HOA or a POA cannot have a restricted facility that they control outside of their subdivision. And I'll give you an example. There's a number of subdivisions that are starting around us. And I think the last thing we want to see is have these little parking lots that are restricted to certain HOAs, particularly on our island, because parking is a problem to begin with. We don't deal very well with that in our UDO, even our new UDO. I think there's some things we can grab onto and maybe restrict it, but I think a property owner, particularly in a property owner state like North Carolina, could do just what I don't want them to do, to have a private standalone parking lot where only their HOA people can park. And even though I'm going to vote for this right now, I attempted to lobby, if you will, with the planning board and with town council, but it didn't get any traction. And I think it's something that people need to think about a little bit before we bring this up again. But I'd like town council to consider a future text amendment where we do restrict it. If somebody wants to buy property and put a paid parking lot on it as a business and allow everybody to park there, I think it would be un-American of me to say, no, you can't do that. But for somebody to buy a piece of property, particularly on our island in the Beach Business 1 area where it would be allowed to have a parking lot, I think that would be a disservice to all of our citizens, the majority of our citizens. So I'd like to
Question
think about that.
question on that. Excuse me. You said the ones that we have there have buildings and HOAs. Was your comment referring to can they still come in and buy land and build a building on it and then restrict it? Or
They
is that
can't do it anymore because the new UDO that we wrote last year says that private HOAs and POAs can only have private communities, they call it a private community centers, within their subdivision. So unless their subdivision was the island, they couldn't do it. So we've I think bootstrapped that in so that we're protected. But what we didn't do from a planning board level is prevent somebody from, I'll give you an example, the sanctuary, from going and buying a lot within BB1 and saying that that is parking for the sanctuary. And
okay?
because
That's clear.
That's what I don't want to have.
Can we ask the planning board to take a look at that and make a modification and address that sooner rather than later?
The planning board actually did look at that at their last meeting, and they came to a consensus not to recommend either way. But I can take it back and ask that they look further. And then just to clarify for everybody's knowledge, the BB1 district on the island is limited to if you are on the island going toward the ocean, the left side of First Street, the right side of 27th Street, and Sunset Boulevard South on both sides. That is all BB1 district, and that means Beach Business District. That's the only place on the island that those types of parking lots are allowed at this point.
All right,
Okay.
I've said my piece. I appreciate you listening and
Now-
just for consideration.
Would the best way forward then, would it be for Lisa to bring back to the planning board and say, or is it best if we do something here?
Just bring
Well,
back to us.
if
the
voting
text
on
amendment.
this has nothing to do with that.
I know
because
that. I know that.
it, like Ms. Anglin said, the planning board didn't want to commingle that with these
I understand.
housekeeping changes that were within the UDO.
Mhm.
Because mine was not a house,
Mhm.
that part was not a housekeeping change. It was a policy change.
What I'm saying is, what's the best way to move forward?
Well, when the planning board looked at it, it went a little deeper than just the BB1 district because we looked at the mainland as well. And that's where we certainly didn't want to regulate somebody being able to come in, purchase a piece of property, open it up to the public for parking for such as a shuttle service to the island. So let me take it back to them and bring it down to just the BB1 district.
That's all I would be interested in is
Right.
BB1. I do, because it's
Sounds good.
also allowed in mainland business 1, mainland business 2, the mud district. And I think those can be appropriate,
Mhm.
but
That's
certainly not on the beach where land and parking is obviously of concern, particularly for the people that live on the island.
Everybody
Are there any other
okay with it?
comments, questions?
Well, I'd like to
concerns?
see what they come up with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fair for the planning board
Yeah.
to do that.
So,
versus us.
so we need a motion to approve. Does it have for
We have-
this?
we have-
Yes, you do need
This
a
text
motion to
amendment
approve this.
And does it need the consistency statement with it? Okay. Could I have a motion on this topic, including the consistency statement, part A?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the correction of administrative errors on tables, was it 3.1 tables? And in table A2, required certification in which incorrect code citations were referenced, and 2.15.E, major subdivision preliminary plot in subsection 5.c, inadvertently referring to the Board of Aldermen in lieu of the planning board. Now, going to the back.
Page 66.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the town council hereby approves of the proposed amendment to the United Development Ordinance and finds that it is neither I, consistent or inconsistent with the town's comprehensive plan, 2017 Town of Sunset Beach Land Use Plan. As there are no specific policies pertaining to the biodiversity of planted material.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Pick that tough one.
Next item is the Tree City USA designation. And Lisa.
Thank you, John. Okay, as John Farrell spoke at the public comment period earlier, this is something that the ERC has been working on for about 4 years now and started even before that. There are 4 standards of being recognized for Tree City USA: having a tree board or department, a public tree care ordinance, community forest program with an annual budget of at least $2 per capita, and an Arbor Day observation and proclamation. So we already have number 2 and number 4. We just need to look at number 1 and number 3. As we already spend money on our public trees to maintain them, their upkeep, we plant trees. So there's already money being spent in the current budget. It's just not allocated in its own line. And this needs to be allocated in its own line. I can't guarantee you that the $9,200 that I'm requesting for the budget amendment for the 24-25 budget is exactly the amount of money that we are spending. But in future budgets, it would reduce the line items where those are housed now, which is in public buildings and infrastructure.
Okay.
And then the tree board can be a department. It could be a makeup of staff. We are looking at maybe some citizen involvement, some resident involvement, some ERC involvement, some staff involvement. I just need authority to create it, and then we'll advertise and see what kind of interest we get, and then we'll bring it back to you all to formally appoint.
And in the creation, would the council have a voice in what you create, what you propose creating?
Mhm.
The mixture? Okay.
I think that's an important point, which with Mr. Corbett just said about us having input into what is the format of it. However, I might suggest that it not be necessarily an appointed board, because that can be cumbersome, like with your parking committee. That was not, was that officially an appointed board?
No, it was not.
No.
And it made, I think, the process smoother, less cumbersome. But anyway, you just take that under advisement as you structure this. As a comment, I'd venture to say that, am I doing something wrong? Okay. I'm talking. The $9,200 that would need to be $2 per capita that pre-qualifies us to have enough money set aside to check these 4 boxes for the Tree City USA. I'd venture to say with the maintenance work we do at the park and with the trees that we take care of on the town right away throughout the town, that we spend double that. Now that's just coming out of my ear, but I would venture that. I don't think there's any problem.
And all
I would agree.
the buildings, all the grounds.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, like the,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
all the grounds.
Mike?
I think that we should go forward with filling in the 1 and 3 standard. My thing on the standard is having a board versus a department. Once you have a department, you have staff. When you have staff, you have salary, FICA, all the other expenses to it, which will raise, and I don't think we should do that.
And I'm not suggesting creating a new department. Public Works Department is responsible for the tree maintenance now. So that would be the department. If you went that way of only having a department, it would be made up of staff that is already here.
If we have a department with some spattering of citizen volunteers, if you wish, because the people in the communities are very interested in our tree.
Mhm.
And
I agree with
put them
Mike.
as part of it would make them buy into it and actually help us in a lot of ways that way.
We might find some very good talent in the town too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
As we publicize this.
Any other comments?
And we'll bring a budget amendment back if you approve that.
I have a motion.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Good.
I move that we create a tree board and an annual $2 per capita budget.
Second? Anybody
I'll
have a second?
second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Done. Thank you. That covers the business. We're now at public comments on any topic. Again, 3 minutes. And name and address, please.
You do the disposition, John.
Pardon?
The disposition of director.
Do we have to do that first?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
No.
that comes after public comments in the
No, it's
No, it's
high
number 5.
five.
Number 5.
number 5. Sorry about that.
It's okay. You're new.
Okay, disposition of directives. Lisa? Anything to add?
I don't think we have any. I don't think we have anything to add. I went ahead and put the paid parking recommendations and the beach wrap-ups in hopes that you would move that to December 3rd, second meeting. And we will send notice out that the November meeting has changed, but I don't think it needs to be on here. And I don't think there was anything else that needed to be added.
Would November be too quick to get the tree board recommendation? How we're going to set it up?
Potentially. We could possibly do that.
Okay, we tentatively put it on the schedule then.
Okay.
Pete?
Do you have something, Mike?
No,
Our favorite topic, wind-driven shading devices and the test program. I believe, if my memory serves, is that we put a date of review at the end of October. And I might submit that therefore on the new meeting date of November 12th, that be on the agenda, because it really is not, at that meeting, I'd like to get input from the police and the fire chief, and possibly Paul Brown, but it's a subset issue that isn't an integral part of the beach for next year. So I'd like to put that to bed.
I thought, well, go ahead, Lisa.
In our conversations between the three of us, we are looking at that being one of the items that is covered in that December 2nd meeting
Exactly.
as a review of how it went, and our recommendations for how it should continue.
I agree with you, Lisa.
That's good.
We're just duplicating it.
And I understand your point, and I knew you were going to say that, but I still thought that it should be done sooner than later. But I hear you.
Okay.
Anything else on disposition of directives, Charlie?
I'd like to add or consider adding an increase of our public works staff. There's more and more people moving into town, and going to give them more work. They do a great job, but eventually it's going to be too much for the small crew that we have. So do we wait for budget time for that, or can we look at it now?
We'd have to do a budget amendment
Yeah, well,
to do that.
I mean, we need more feedback from the public works people before we make a judgment call up here about what is necessary, what's needed, and when.
I certainly support what Charlie's saying. And I think it's appropriate to come up at budget time. But and I think we asked Matt during our last time, do you need staff? Or is staffing a topic? And he said no.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure it changes. He may regret that he said that, but it's, I cringe at budget amendments.
yeah. Well, the staffing process should come up under the budget cycle, where it gets reviewed and formally presented.
I agree
Debated.
wholeheartedly. It's got to come up during budget session and get Matt, and if he needs help, let us know.
And Matt and I are already in conversation about this. And the problem, as with Ken and Richard, with not adding staff until July 1, puts him behind the 8 ball.
Mhm.
Because all the work is there to be done and nobody to do it. And it'll take us 2 or 3 months to recruit, is our only issue with delaying to the budget. But him and I are in conversation and review, in addition to Suzanne that is in that mix. And we'll bring a recommendation to you soon, but I don't want to lock us into 11 and 12.
Well, but kind of on the same note, Charlie, because I'm in your camp on that. I think we have some key personnel or staff members that need a bump, and I think they deserve a bump now rather than waiting until July. However, I'll restate. I think coming out of doing that and needing a budget amendment to do it is not a good management tactic, even though I would support it. But that's just a sidebar comment.
Any other comments? Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Whoa, public
Public
comments.
comments.
Oh, I wanted to get out of here. Are there any public comments?
Yes,
Please.
Roy.
please.
Right. It's all you.
My name is Roy Huckett. I'm at 598 Kings Trail, all right?
Yes.
Just pick it over.
Sunset Beach. I've lived here for 27 years, and I've enjoyed all of it. And I also have appreciated the effort and the work by the councils and mayors over the period of time. And even though there have been some contiguous periods of time, Sunset Beach has always grown and prospered in that time. And I'd hate to see all that besmirched. What I'm talking about is the property across the park, across from the park. That property has been in disrepair for at least 20 of my 27 years. Recently, I spoke to a councilman, and after the conversation, it has seemed to me that the only that happens is the property owner does enough just to keep going, and nothing is improved. Now, I'm sure that I'm the oldest person in here at 94, and I hope this is taken care of before my time goes. And if not, maybe I'll have to shoot for another 20 or something to get it, have it watched. It's a problem, and it's been brought out to be or discussed by other members or residents here. And people, in fact, it just happened to me in the gym a couple of after sunset the other day. Some fellow said, "Did you go to the park?" I said, "Yeah, I went." I said, "Did you go?" He says, "No, I didn't go this time." He said, "Hey, tell me, what's going on with that place across the street?" Okay. And this is nothing unusual. So that's my point. I think we need to do something with it, and I have heard, unless I've missed it, I have not heard anything at any of the meetings about us making any headway with that property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Other comments? Janet?
I'm Janet Benson. I live at 409 40th Street, Sunset Beach on the island. I want to thank Lisa very much for her guidance in how to navigate this whole process. But I want to, and I appreciate the fact that you and your staff is going to investigate to present to the board in November about the construction. But I want to kind of clarify or broaden. I'm a property manager, and I manage a number of homes for my neighbors, for our neighbors, my husband and I. And it's this, basically I've built up a small little business, and I take good care of my neighbors' homes. And there's a lot of construction going on, and there was a home that's being built directly behind us. And I manage two of the properties that are next door and across the street. And this summer, the noise has been incredibly horrible. And they started, everybody has a different hours of operation in terms of, and Lisa shared this with me, this is from the specific prohibitions 9402 page about noise, I think. And, but it talks about construction, but it also talks about residents, the after hours, the 10:30 to 7 in the morning, or the 11 p.m. to the morning, about noise. But I think in terms of construction, there's so much going on that it has to incorporate in terms of noise, the equipment. I mean, we were just having dinner at 6:30, and I've got the beeping of the machines going behind us. I've got, there should be hours of operation for the equipment. There should be hours of operation for staff. There are a lot of independent contractors involved. In terms of the neighbors should be receiving some type of letter. I understood from a neighbor of mine that she's doing private contracting to build a house, rebuild her house. And she was required to submit letters to her neighbors. And when I came over here to speak to Cindy today, she said there is no such thing in terms of the requesting of some type of letters for the neighbors to make them aware that there's going to be construction happening. But so it's become a broader issue, and I think that if you can break it down and include equipment in terms of hours of operation within the season, within the summer season for all of our vacationers, and outside of the season. I mean, a lot of homeowners come in now in the fall, and it's a wonderful time of year to be on Sunset and to be listening to backing up equipment and to be listening to the loud music from the construction workers at 7:30 at night is absolutely obscene. And I think that there should be there's plenty of work within this area right now. And once upon a time, everybody needed to be able to make their business happen. I'll let you go. But anyway, I
Thank
just
you.
want you to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other speakers? Can we stop now, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make
So
a motion to,
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.